kuna wale wengine ambao wanapiga fujo sana. And for one reason or another, they may be seen to be the majority. But the fact of the matter is that the majority ndio hawa wako hapo wanapanga maisha yao hawa. The silent majority inapanga mpango wa maisha. Wengine wako huko na fujo lao, waendelee.
Some of our young people who are very gifted, very talented, very innovative, but they don't want to be mentored, they don't want to be helped by anybody because they think they know it all and everybody else doesn't know anything. And you can't tell them anything because they know everything and they don't want to hear anything from any other person. That is a dangerous approach. You must allow. It doesn't matter how powerful you are. It doesn't matter how gifted you are, how talented you are. You must allow to be mentored. There is no shortcut. It is a principle of life. All faiths, all religions, all philosophies, all cultures recognize the place of mentorship by other people.
Okay, let's have that conversation on youth, discipline and politics. My guest one more time, Reverend Caroline Kiarie, Anglican Church of Kenya, Thika Diocese. Thank you for making time. Jerika Higa, National Youth Leader, Asante sana for making time. Daniel Orogo, Governance Commentator, thank you for making time. Tim Kipchumba, President, Mentorthon Foundation, Asante for making time. And Mohamed Abdullahi, a law student. Daniel, I'll start with you because you're the first one here. Are the youth indisciplined in this country?
Good morning, Trevor. Good morning to our viewers. And thank you for putting me on a spotlight. I think we have had sentiments that have come from the political leaders as such. And theirs is a rallying call that young people, others are pointing out that they need to be mentored. Others are pointing out that, you know, they are the silent minority. But the question is, what is then the definition of discipline in youth? What are the youth viewing as either discipline or indiscipline? But in this context, I think I am probably tempted to think that we are mentioning what has been going on youth taking space and being creative in the space of activism, you know, on social media, online, and, you know, trying to question, call for accountability. And to that extent, I think others have had the opinion that they have gone so far in terms of, you know, bringing, you know, this government to account. But I think I would like to close by just saying that, one, in the context of discipline, it's important to define what is discipline. You know, what are young people seeing as discipline in the context of what is going on? Because then that is also relative. What then do you define as being morally acceptable within the society, with norms within the society? And that, I think, the call for discipline, we must also define then what are young people, why are people thinking youth are not disciplined? What have they done to go beyond what is morally acceptable, or morally what is socially acceptable in the context of what is going on right now? And that is also critical to question. I'm glad we are having, you know, in this panel, people from diverse background. What religion defines as discipline? What law defines as discipline, you know, in the political context? What is the institution that, you know, morally, and I've heard the president saying these, you know, pointing fingers at the parents, the institution family. We've had results that have been released, Trevor, the institution education, but in terms of socializing young people to do what morally accepted, and that is what we are calling are the young people disciplined. I think it could be interesting to, you know, to discuss this as we go.
All right. Tim, I know you interact with the young people a lot in your Mentorthon program. Are they indisciplined?
I think context matters. You know, to some extent, I agree with Joe that young people should have agency and agency. That's very, very important. I mean, young people need to have agency for their own lives. Because also, if in fact everyone succeeds and more young people take up more responsibility, the tide lifts everyone up. You know, we forget now that, you know, when Sam Altman, Elon Musk began his first company was only 24 years. He sold that company for a couple $1 million, and he took all the $300 million or thereabout and put it in Tesla, SpaceX, and 2-3 more companies. So that to the extent that also more young people, and I think you know, the Vice President alludes the same, to the extent that more young people can take up more agency and urgency, that's good for the whole country. Because remember, right now, if we have potentially 10 million young people that don't have opportunities, sometimes those young people are not qualified, sometimes they don't have the right apprenticeship, sometimes they don't have mentorship, and yes, government should do everything humanly possible to make its agenda about young people. But I think the context in this case is different. I think, to be honest, you know, if it's about, you know, using social media as a force of good, young people are more savvy. You know, they can use TikTok. But I think what we've seen in the last, you know, couple of months, not just in Kenya alone and around the world, is, you know, caricatures, is a lot of abuse in some cases. So that
is that a show of indiscipline?
So of course that's certainly a show of indiscipline. I mean, that's just sad, because what happens is you actually lose the rest of the movement. In Puerto Rico, the reason they were able to change the governor that was there is because the movement ended up not just becoming about a few young people, ended up becoming about everyone. The way to really, really make the movement, the things that you care about everyone, is to make sure that everyone else accepts that what you're doing is reasonable. If you draw the president in a casket, I mean, it doesn't matter if you are right or wrong. We know that the abductions are illegal, absolutely. Abductions are against the law. And I think the president has pronounced himself. I think Kipchumba Murkomen, the CS for Interior, has pronounced himself that we will not tolerate abduction. It's against the law.
Yeah.
But then, so in that context, you can say that, yes, a few young people, not everyone, a few young people.
Okay.
And I think Joe alludes to that. A few young people are indisciplined.
Okay.
But majority of young people, I think what we need to do is make sure that we have agency and urgency.
We'll discuss that in just a bit. Abdullahi, let's take the context where this conversation all started. It's about the conversations online. That's what the leaders are referring to when they say that young people are indisciplined. Do you agree that the young people are indisciplined, especially when it comes to the online conversations that you've seen?
Trevor, I don't think we exist in isolation. I think young people are a part of the very same society. They chose to express their dissatisfaction with what the government of the day is doing in a particular manner. It is probably more indisciplined to be corrupt. It is probably more it is more indisciplined to abduct young people. It is more indisciplined to shoot protesters live on camera on June 25th last year. So comparatively, is it more indisciplined to call out that transgressions by the political class against the citizenry in ways the political class disapproves as compared to the transgressions that happen against the citizenry? I would argue that it's probably more indisciplined to be corrupt. It is probably more indisciplined to mess with the lives of Kenyans. Why the great dissatisfaction with how that activism was done? Drawing the or having AI-generated images of the president in a casket, of the silhouettes of the president. I would argue that imagining life upon any death rather upon any person is morally just wrong. It's something that we abhor as a society, more so even the president, because a lot more is at stake. However, the choice of activism, or how people will call out their corrupt government, how people will call out a government that is not working for the people, will not be for the political class to dictate. That will come for the citizenry. They will do it however way they want. Deputy President Kindiki calls for mentorship. Yes, young people are being mentored by the right people, by their teachers whom they look up to and respect in schools, by their local church leaders whom they look up to and respect in their churches, by their local mosque leaders, clerics, and all of these things, whom they look up to and respect. Young people, myself included, do not look up to the political class. We do not respect them. We do not expect any mentorship from people who we do not respect. We do not expect or desire mentorship from people whom we think are corrupt, people whom we think are leading the country in the wrong direction. So the expectation that young people will come down on their knees and ask for mentorship from the political class is a misplaced one. No. Absolutely.
All right, Jerry. Let's hear the panelists first, then I'll come to you for your reactions. Jerry, are the young people indisciplined in the context of the conversations we've been seeing online?
Thank you, Trevor. First of all, I want to say in the context of the CS Joho and the Deputy President Kindiki, I don't think they hold the moral fabric to tell who is disciplined and who is not disciplined. We cannot be getting lectures from somebody who supervised the brutal murder of the young people. We cannot be taking lectures about discipline from the same CS Joho who during Azimio campaigns was left, right, throwing words. During the Azimio Maandamano back in 2022, 2023, was left, right, calling this regime all sorts of names. So I don't understand how suddenly, overnight, he now becomes the most disciplined person to tell us as a nation that the young people are quite indisciplined. Because it's one thing for you to look at somebody as indisciplined, but let us take it back to the conversation of this regime. We have previously seen when the president was in Western for the burial to the mother to the speaker, there was no young person in that platform, but it ended up looking like a throw of insults from one leader to another, this one calling the other one names, this one calling the other one names, this one is calling whoever a murderer. And I want to understand, a youth somewhere uses AI to bring up the president in a casket, then a leader of the majority in parliament wakes up and calls up another governor a murderer. So which regime is this that is calling the young people indiscipline? So it's a case of the kettle calling the pot black. But one thing I need to clearly state as a young person, I don't advocate for indiscipline for the young people. But again, I don't advocate for the same oppressor to dictate how the oppressed calls out the acts that are going on in this nation. And again, for a minute, let us be honest. If at all this nation wants us to go down the line of law, we should not even be having Kindiki as the deputy president of this nation. He should be in court telling us of the lives we lost. He should be in court telling us of why we have not had any police officer arrested so far for what happened during Maandamano. CS Joho, for God's sake, he should be the last person to speak. As we speak, in terms of indiscipline, he should never even allow himself be in such a conversation. Because if we were to play back his clips live on air, we were to play his clips when he was doing campaigns all over this nation, he would be the last person to speak about indiscipline. So we are going into a conversation of who should really be telling this nation about discipline. The president himself. The president himself. You cannot wake up today, say this thing, then tomorrow you've changed, and you expect we, the young people, to look at you and just smile. We are going to call you the liar that you are, and how we decide to do it might not be what you want us to the means you want us to use. But again, it narrows down to you. If you are not a liar, we would not be looking for all means to call you that. It narrows down to the conversation of, if you did not abduct the first person, we would not be out here as the young people looking at you like the president of a regime that has made abductions a normality in this nation. And then again, why is it so difficult for this regime to be honest? If the young people were not dissatisfied with you people to that extreme extent, because let's be honest, which one is more indisciplined, to murder somebody because they have told you the price of unga is high, or to put somebody in a casket and hope that they would die because you're already living a life of somebody who, the lives of the young people right now, and those in the graves is no difference. That is what the young people are trying to mean. Mumetua tukiwa uhai, and we are wishing the same on you. I see some of the panelists already shaking their heads, but let's hear what Reverend has to say about this. Reverend, are the young people in discipline?
One, they are not, and I want to agree with her when we are asking who exactly has the bar to say, or the standard to say that we are being indisciplined. And the DP starts by saying that we need mentorship. And I want to look at who are our mentors. Is he and Joho supposed to be our mentors? How can they show us what vice is and then demand virtue from us? It is impossible. The young people are a result of the general society and the community. And so if the young people are indisciplined, it is a very clear mirror of what the society is, because basically it is monkey see and monkey do. And so we are just doing what they have taught us to do well. It is wrong to say that we are indisciplined, because truly when we agree with what they are saying, that is when we are being called disciplined. When we cheer for them and say, miaka ingine tano for our president, that is being disciplined. But when we say this is wrong and we stand our ground, it becomes a problem to them. And then that is when they are redefining discipline into indiscipline. The young people went to the streets in June, and they were killed. They did what was constitutionally right. And so the protest morphed into an online one, where they believed, or where we believed, that we won't be touchable. But then we see that young people from the silhouettes, and again I want to say that that man in the casket is just an old man. Our president is very much alive, and he has proved it over and over again. And so I don't know why the head of the country is reacting to pictures of an old man in a casket, of silhouettes. How does he know how his shadow looks like? And why is he reacting as the head of the country? It is so uncouth and very unsettling to us. And if we're supposed to follow what is discipline, then we are not ready to be disciplined as the young people. We are very ready to be indisciplined, because this country, if we go the way we are going, we won't have a future for us and our children. And so the government should be ready that we will continue to be indisciplined if that is their definition of indiscipline. Yes,
all
Trevor.
Right. That's an interesting perspective coming from the Reverend. Okay, let's take a quick break. When we come back, we delve deeper into this conversation. And also there's a statement from the president. We'll also bring that up. And Moses Kuri as well, the advisor to the president. So discuss that in just a bit. But keep your views coming. At Trevor Mbidi at Citizen TV Kenya is the hashtag Daybreak.